Dear friends, I would very much like to be present and to participate in this policy seminar of Civitatis International under the guidance of Mr. Jean Mortier, the founder and executive president of this institution. To all the members of Civitatis, to all those that today attend this very important policy seminar, I would like to give my reflections, remarks on this very important subject, reshaping the West. What values, what architectures for a better world, a better, more just, more secure world. First of all, I would like to remind the importance of one design that perhaps now we must also take into account in order to better reshape the future. And this is the design of President Roosevelt in 1944-45, when he decided that we need to have institutions related with economy, but particularly we need to have different institutions on a system based on security at the worldwide level, it is the United Nations, but with different institutions related with work, with health, with education, science and culture, with youth, with development. This is exactly what I think that we need now, because we must not forget that the Charter is saying, we the peoples. What we need is not to have some groups, plutocratic groups, but what we need is, again, to have one organization in which all the different countries, all the different cultures, all the different peoples can work all together. And some years later, I remember how important was the collapse of the Soviet Union. It was under the very able leadership of Mikhail Gorbachev. But with the collapse of the Berlin Wall, was all system that was starting. Many countries, very important countries in the world, were starting their long march towards public freedom. And this is very important because was a moment for this shift in history that was needed from absolute power to real and genuine democratic powers throughout the world. But regretfully, I remember at this time, that one system based on equality but has forgotten freedom is now collapsing. But before long, the alternative system based on freedom that has forgotten equality and justice will collapse as well. And this is what has happened, because we had a system, the neoliberal globalizers, that thought that we can substitute the values, the democratic principles, so well enshrined in the UNESCO's constitution, that we can change these values, ethical values, social justice, solidarity, by the market laws, and that we can change the United Nations, where with all the deficiencies that must be corrected, I agree, but we were all the countries, we the peoples of the world, and they substituted this by groups, oligarchic groups, plutocratic groups of 7, 8 or now 20 countries the same. It's unbelievable that the whole world, 196 countries, can be guided but 7, 8 or 20. And the results, now we have the results. The result is that we have a world in which we have an economy based on speculation, on delocalization, productive delocalization, and war, yes, and war. Because every day the investments in the expenditures in military and armament are around $4 billion. At the same time, during 24 hours, more than 60,000 human beings are dying of hunger. This is absolutely intolerable. This result of one system that thought that we can only see all the aspects of life through the glasses, through the optics of economy and of money, was misguiding the whole planet. And now we need very rapid transitions. Transition from this economy based on speculation to a transition of economy that is based on global sustainable development. That takes into account these priorities that we know that now are more necessary than ever, because we have also commitment, an intergenerational commitment with the succeeding generations, and we cannot, for example, react as we are doing with the environment. We know that the climate change, the melting of the Arctic, all these things are real problems for humanity, and we can reach non-return points, we can reach irreversible points. And then what we are doing, we are always only in the Western countries particularly, only with the deficit and with the problems related with the debt, and now we need really serene change. We need to refound a multilateral democratic system very urgently. We need to decrease very rapidly the funds devoted to military and to armament expenditures. We need very rapidly to have these priorities of food for all and water. More than 1 billion persons have today problems to have drinkable water every day, and we need to have health attention to all the people, and to take into account how important is the environment, the habitability of the earth as a whole for the succeeding generations. Dear friends, therefore what we need is really today to be able to take in our hands the reins of the future. We cannot anymore to be spectators, to be only waiting for what is being done here or there. We the peoples, now we must react, and we must raise our voice. I am very happy that President Obama, in his commencement of the second mandate speech, has said that we must raise the voice, and that this voice of we the peoples must be taken into account in order to have democracy everywhere. It's for this that I, with a group of very important persons with biography devoted to human rights, are now presenting this declaration, Universal Declaration of Democracy, because democracy is the only context in which really the human rights will be implemented, I am sure that this can be a very important contribution for this very important transition from force to word. Let us talk. Let us really solve the problems, the conflicts that always will exist through dialogue, through conciliation. This is the very important transition from a culture of imposition, of violence, of war, to a culture of dialogue, of alliance, of peace. Thank you, and the best wishes for your policy seminar.